Vran had seen many worlds in his life, but this one was strange. A cold, rocky planet orbiting a yellow star, covered with jagged mountains and deep canyons. From space, it looked quiet, almost lifeless. Yet, his sensors detected something unusual: movement, energy, and life forms unlike anything he had cataloged before. He had been sent here with his squadron to observe and report. The mission was simple: record any intelligent life and determine if it posed a threat. Vran, a soldier trained in strategy and combat, expected predictable behavior like he had seen with hundreds of other species. But this planet, and its inhabitants, would be unlike anything he had faced. The first signs came in the form of small metal ships, moving slowly across the planet's surface. They were unlike the sleek, uniform craft of his army. They seemed fragile, almost clumsy, yet they moved with purpose. Vran tilted his head, intrigued. These were not animals. They were intelligent, and they were clever. The humans landed in a valley that Vran had chosen as his observation point. From his hidden position on a ridge, he watched them. They did not wear heavy armor like his kind. Their bodies were light, and their movements were awkward yet coordinated. They carried tools and small weapons, but nothing that could match his squadron's technology. Vran's curiosity grew. He had never seen a species so small and yet so determined. The humans spoke in sounds his translator barely understood. They were communicating constantly, adjusting their plans, helping each other. One human tripped on the rocky ground, but another quickly helped him up. Vran recorded the behavior. Compassion was rare in battle, even among intelligent species, yet these humans seemed to care for one another deeply. As the humans explored, they discovered signs of Vran's hidden sensors. One of them, a tall figure with a strange metal device in his hand, pointed toward the ridge where Vran was hiding. Vran froze. The human's eyes were sharp, scanning the landscape with a careful focus. He was small, almost fragile, but his presence was commanding. Vran's squadron prepared for engagement. Standard procedure dictated neutralizing unknown life forms until they could be classified as harmless. Yet something stopped Vran. The humans were unarmed in a way that mattered. They had no shields, no heavy weapons. But there was a spark in their eyes, something unquantifiable. They did not fear. They did not hesitate. The humans approached the ridge carefully. Vran stayed motionless, analyzing their movements. They worked together in a coordinated way that his algorithms could not predict. One human seemed to notice a sensor partially buried in the ground. Instead of destroying it, he examined it, turning it in his hands with care. Then, with a quick motion, he disabled it using a small device. Vran's sensors recorded everything, but his mind raced with a strange emotion, curiosity, perhaps even admiration. This was not the usual reaction of primitive creatures. The humans were intelligent, inventive, and unafraid. He wondered what else they could do. Suddenly, a small explosion erupted near the humans. Vran tensed, preparing to intervene, but the humans responded differently than he expected. They did not panic. One of them rolled to the side, avoiding debris. Another picked up a fallen tool and used it to block the blast. In moments, the situation was under control. Vran's record showed an unusual pattern. Humans could adapt instantly, improvising solutions on the spot. One of the humans, the tall one with sharp eyes, stood and looked directly at Vran's ridge. For a heartbeat, they made eye contact. Vran felt a strange connection. His instincts told him to attack, but something deeper told him to wait. This human, small and seemingly weak, carried a strength that was not physical. It was willpower. It was determination. The humans moved on, continuing their exploration. Vran followed cautiously, keeping a distance. He noted their methods, their teamwork, and their constant communication. They were learning, observing, and adapting faster than his squadron expected. It was almost as if the planet itself had given them knowledge, teaching them to survive in harsh conditions. As night fell, the humans set up a small camp near a river. Vran observed from a hidden position above. Fires burned softly, and the humans gathered in groups, talking and sharing food. Even in this primitive setting, there was a sense of community. Vran's kind rarely showed such behavior. His soldiers were efficient, logical, and disciplined, but they rarely cared for one another in this way. The humans slept under the stars, using blankets and simple shelters. Vran noted how they arranged themselves carefully, protecting the weak and the young. One human stayed awake, scanning the surroundings with a small device, alert and vigilant. Even in rest, they were cautious and prepared. Vran's mind replayed the events of the day. Every encounter, every small action, was a display of skill, courage, and intelligence. These humans were not just survivors, they were innovators, warriors in their own way, and they were unpredictable. The next morning, the humans packed up quickly, leaving the camp clean and organized. Vran followed at a safe distance. They moved through rough terrain, climbing mountains and crossing rivers. When one human slipped on a wet rock, another was immediately there to help. They did not leave anyone behind. The instinct to protect each other was strong. A sudden storm erupted, with wind and rain battering the landscape. The humans adapted instantly, building quick shelters from nearby rocks and materials. Vran's squadron would have struggled in such conditions. His soldiers relied on technology, but these humans relied on instinct, creativity, and cooperation. Vran realized something profound. These humans were not only intelligent, but they were capable of courage and resilience that his kind could not easily understand. Their strength was not in numbers or weapons, but in their minds and hearts. Later they encountered a dangerous cliffside, unstable and treacherous. The humans worked together, using ropes, tools, and guidance to help each other climb safely. Vran recorded everything, amazed at their precision and trust. One mistake could have been fatal, yet they succeeded. At the end of the day, Vran returned to his ship. He reviewed the data. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and brave. They could survive in harsh environments, adapt to new threats, and protect each other with unwavering loyalty. They were, in many ways, unlike any species he had studied before. Vran's commanding officer questioned him. "Why haven't you engaged them?" he asked. "They are primitive. They cannot threaten us." Vran hesitated. "Primitive," he said. "I have never seen a species adapt and survive like this. They do not fight like us, but they fight with courage. They think, improvise, and protect one another. They are remarkable." The officer frowned. "We must decide. Either they are a threat or they are not. Observing is not enough." Vran agreed, but inside he knew something had changed. These humans were different. There was a spark in them that no logic could measure, a determination that defied probability, and Vran could not ignore it. As night fell again, Vran returned to the ridge where he had first observed them. He watched the stars, thinking of the small humans moving below on the planet's surface. They were fragile, yes, but also extraordinary. Their courage and resourcefulness would leave a mark, he realized, not only on this planet, but on anyone who underestimated them. He knew the first contact was only the beginning. Humans were unpredictable, dangerous in ways his superiors did not understand. Yet he felt something else, too, a strange admiration, perhaps even respect. Vran's sensors recorded one last moment before sleep. The humans, huddled near a small fire, looked up at the stars. Their voices were soft, but full of hope. Hope was a concept his kind rarely understood in war. Yet here it was, strong and persistent, radiating from beings so small and seemingly weak. Vran realized that he had been assigned a simple mission: observe, and report. But now his mission had changed. He would not only observe, he would learn, from humans, of all species. For the first time in his career, Vron felt curiosity stronger than duty. He wondered what humans could do when challenged, tested, or threatened. He wondered what they were capable of, and deep inside, he felt a warning, quiet but persistent. These humans were more than they seemed. As he closed his eyes, Vron knew one thing with certainty. This was the first day of a story that would be told for generations. A story of humans, unpredictable and fearless, stepping into a universe that had never expected them. Vron had spent weeks observing the humans now. Every day they surprised him. Each step they took on the rocky planet was careful, yet bold. They adapted to the terrain, to the weather, to the unknown. But today, they would face a challenge unlike any they had encountered before, and Vron would witness it all. A group of rogue alien scouts had appeared near the humans' temporary camp. They were faster, stronger, and equipped with weapons far beyond what the humans had. To any ordinary species, this would have been a disaster. But the humans reacted differently. The tall human with sharp eyes and the commander scanned the horizon and shouted orders. His voice was firm, but calm. Vron watched closely, noting the efficiency of their movements. Each human had a role, and they knew it without hesitation. Some ran to gather rocks and debris, improvising barricades. Others moved into hidden positions, ready to distract the enemies. Vron was amazed. His kind relied on precision and power, yet humans relied on ingenuity and teamwork. The aliens attacked first, firing beams that could melt stone. Humans dodged and rolled behind cover, using the terrain as protection. One small human picked up a fallen piece of metal and flung it into the air. The alien, distracted, looked for the source, giving another human the chance to strike with a makeshift tool. Vron's sensors recorded the human's every move. His programming told him the aliens should win easily. They had strength, speed, and superior technology. But the humans were unpredictable. They adapted to each attack instantly, sometimes reacting before the aliens even completed their movements. One human, a young woman with quick hands, moved to the side of a rocky outcrop. She noticed a thin cable running from an alien weapon to its power source. Without hesitation, she used a small tool to cut the cable. The alien weapon sputtered and went silent. Vron tilted his head in surprise. Such clever improvisation was rare in battle. The aliens regrouped and advanced. They underestimated the humans, expecting fear and panic. Instead, the humans moved like water, flowing around obstacles and striking from unexpected directions. Vron realized this was not just survival instinct, it was strategy. They were small, yes, but every move was calculated to maximize their effect. The humans worked together seamlessly. When one was trapped, another came to assist. When one was injured, another shielded them. Vron noted the compassion that existed alongside their courage. His species considered such behavior weak in battle, but here, it was part of their strength. Protecting each other made them stronger, not weaker. At one point, the tall human commander led a daring maneuver. He leapt across a narrow canyon, landing behind an alien squad. His movement drew fire away from his group, allowing others to advance safely. Vron watched in disbelief. The humans risked themselves, yes, but they calculated the odds and acted with purpose. This was not recklessness. It was bravery fused with intelligence. The battle continued for hours. The humans used simple tools and natural materials to create traps. They dug pits and covered them with branches, hiding them under the soil. They rolled boulders down slopes to block alien paths. Vron's mind raced with observations. His army would have crushed such a group with brute force, but the humans did not rely on strength. They relied on thinking, improvising, and understanding their environment. The aliens were frustrated. They expected a quick victory, but the humans would not yield. Each time the aliens advanced, the humans had a new trick. Sometimes it was a distraction, sometimes it was a sudden strike from an unexpected direction. Every action was unpredictable, making the aliens unsure how to respond. Vron's admiration grew. He realized humans were not merely survivors, they were innovators. The way they analyzed threats, adapted on the fly, and used teamwork was exceptional. Even when injured or exhausted, they continued to fight. Fear existed, yes, but it did not control them. They embraced danger, using it to fuel their courage. During a critical moment, the humans faced a large alien war machine, a heavily armored vehicle capable of destroying dozens of them at once. To Vron's sensors, this should have been the end. But the humans did not retreat. Instead, they studied the machine, noting its weak points. They coordinated a plan using small explosive devices, sticks, and a pulley system to reach the target. The young woman from earlier took the lead, climbing on top of the machine while the others distracted it. With precise timing, they detonated the device near the machine's engine. The war machine shuddered, then fell silent, immobile. The humans cheered quietly, but they did not celebrate. They knew more challenges could come. Their focus remained sharp. Vron had never seen such courage in one species. The human strategy combined creativity, precision, and heart. Their willingness to face danger, not with blind aggression, but with intelligence and teamwork, was remarkable. Even the aliens watching the battle would have been surprised. The battle ended as the rogue aliens retreated, confused and beaten. The humans had survived against impossible odds, relying on nothing but their wits, bravery, and unity. Vron descended from his observation point and approached the humans, keeping himself hidden. He wanted to see them up close, to study their behavior without interfering. He noticed the humans helping each other after the fight. They tended to injuries, shared food, and encouraged the weary. Even in victory, they did not act with arrogance or cruelty. Their strength was tempered by kindness, something Vron's kind rarely understood. The commander looked around at his group, his eyes scanning for danger. Then he looked at the sky, as if sensing Vron's presence. Vron felt a strange awareness. This human seemed to see beyond the immediate world, beyond what he could even sense. There was something in their perception, a combination of intuition and understanding, that made humans even more unpredictable. Vron realized that this battle was only the beginning. The humans had survived because they were not just fighters. They were thinkers, planners, and improvisers. They had something his species lacked, the ability to adapt instantly and use their environment in ways that no algorithm could predict. He also realized something else. The humans were fearless in a way his soldiers were not. Not fearless in ignorance, but fearless in knowledge. They understood the risks and chose to act anyway. That was something alien logic could not easily comprehend. Courage was not calculated by probability alone. It came from belief, determination, and the drive to protect one another. After the battle, Vron returned to his ship to file his report. He had data, images, and recordings of every move the humans had made, but he struggled to describe what he had witnessed. Numbers, statistics, and descriptions could not capture the essence of human bravery and ingenuity. He wrote, "Humans are small and fragile compared to our forces. Their weapons are weak, and their numbers are insufficient. Yet, they survive and overcome superior threats. They improvise solutions instantly, protect each other with loyalty, and act with courage that defies probability." Observation: humans are not merely primitive creatures. They are exceptional. Proceed with caution. Recommendation: do not underestimate humans. Vron's commanding officer read the report and scoffed. Exaggeration. Humans are primitive. They cannot challenge us. Vron shook his head. You do not understand. They fight in a way that cannot be measured by strength alone. They are unpredictable, adaptable, and intelligent. They are dangerous in ways we cannot calculate." The officer waved him off. "Dangerous? They are ants. You are giving them qualities they do not have." Vron did not argue. He knew better. The humans had faced impossible odds today and survived. That was not luck. That was skill, courage, and teamwork. He could not forget it, nor ignore it. As night fell over the rocky planet again, Vron returned to the humans' camp. He observed them quietly from a distance. They were repairing tools, tending fires, and sharing stories of the day. Their laughter echoed in the valley, soft but strong, a sign of life that refused to be broken by fear or danger. Vron realized that humans inspired each other. Their courage was not just for survival. It was shared, amplified, and strengthened by their unity. In battle, one human's bravery encouraged another. Their determination multiplied, creating a force greater than the sum of its parts. For the first time, Vron wondered what would happen if humans were challenged on a larger scale. If they faced even greater threats, could they continue to adapt and survive? He felt a mixture of curiosity, respect, and a quiet warning. This species was not ordinary. They could change the course of events simply through their will and ingenuity. He stayed until the humans slept. Watching them huddle under simple shelters, he noticed their eyes. Even when tired, even after battle, they shone with determination. They were exhausted, yet alert, yet hopeful. They had survived. They had triumphed. And in doing so, they had shown Vron something profound. Survival was not just about strength or numbers. It was about heart, mind, and unity. Vron returned to his ship and lay in his quarters. Sleep was difficult. His mind replayed the events of the day, the clever traps, the teamwork, the bravery, the improvisation. Each moment impressed him more than the last. He realized that humans were capable of feats that could rival any species in the galaxy, despite their size and lack of advanced weapons. As he drifted into a restless sleep, Vron made a silent promise to himself. He would continue to observe, continue to learn. These humans had changed his understanding of strength, courage, and strategy, and he knew, deep in his mind, that this was only the beginning of their story. Tomorrow he would witness more challenges, more clever tactics, more displays of bravery, and he would record it all, because this was the story of a species that refused to be defined by weakness and that would inspire awe even in an alien soldier trained to see only logic and power. The humans had grown stronger since their first encounter with the rogue aliens. They were no longer just explorers or survivors. They had become warriors, not in the way of brute strength or advanced weapons, but in the way that truly mattered: intelligence, strategy, and courage. Vron observed them from a hidden perch on a high cliff. He had followed their progress for weeks, always careful to remain unseen. Today, the humans faced a challenge unlike any before. A massive alien fleet had arrived, their ships dark and menacing against the pale sky. The humans were vastly outnumbered. Their small fleet of ships and ground vehicles looked fragile, almost toy-like, compared to the alien war machines. Yet Vron did not feel fear for them. He felt curiosity and an odd sense of respect. Humans did not panic in the face of overwhelming odds. They assessed, planned, and prepared. Their commander, the tall human with sharp eyes, moved among his people, speaking quietly but with authority. Each human seemed to understand instinctively what needed to be done. The humans split into groups, each assigned a task. Some would defend key locations on the ground, using natural barriers and improvised fortifications. Others would engage the enemy in the air, using small, agile craft to distract and confuse. A third group focused on reconnaissance, moving stealthily to discover weaknesses in the alien formation. Vron watched closely as they set their plan into motion. It was unlike any battle he had ever seen. The humans were small and fragile, but they acted like a single organism, each movement calculated, each action purposeful. When one human moved into danger, another moved to cover them. When one was injured, others carried them or protected them from harm. The alien fleet struck first. Massive energy beams cut through the sky, and explosions lit the landscape. Many species would have fled, overwhelmed by the sheer size of the enemy. Not the humans. They moved quickly, dodging attacks and using the terrain to their advantage. One human pilot led a small ship into a canyon, drawing several alien fighters into a trap. Rocks fell, disabling their engines, and the humans swooped in to finish the job. Vron's sensors recorded every detail. He marveled at their ingenuity. They were using the environment like weapons, turning natural obstacles into tools of war. They improvised constantly, never relying on brute force, yet achieving results that would have impressed any advanced species. On the ground, the humans faced another challenge. Alien walkers, enormous mechanical creatures, advanced toward their position. The humans could not hope to destroy them directly. Instead, they lured them into narrow valleys and unstable cliffs. Using ropes, pulleys, and carefully placed explosives, they caused boulders to fall, crushing the walkers or blocking their advance. Vron noted the precision required. One miscalculation could have cost them everything. Yet they succeeded, time and again. The commander directed his people calmly, always observing, always planning. He seemed to anticipate the enemy's movements before they happened. When one alien unit tried to flank them, the commander signaled a group of humans to intercept. They moved quickly and silently, taking positions that the aliens could not predict. In moments, the flank was neutralized without a single human casualty. Vron realized that humans possessed a quality his kind had never mastered: intuition combined with intelligence. They could read a situation, predict outcomes, and act decisively. It was not just strategy, it was instinct refined by experience, courage, and teamwork. Above the battlefield, human pilots used their small ships to distract the alien fleet. They zipped between larger enemy ships, drawing fire and creating openings for others. One pilot flew directly toward an enemy vessel, only to veer at the last moment, causing the alien ship to crash into a nearby asteroid. Vron could not hide his admiration. Each human maneuver was daring, yet effective. On the ground, the humans continued to innovate. They created makeshift bridges over deep chasms, allowing troops to move quickly and surprise the enemy. They used smoke and mirrors, literally, to confuse alien sensors. When one group encountered a heavily guarded supply depot, they did not attack directly. Instead, they sabotaged power lines and created a diversion, causing the aliens to abandon their position without a fight. Vron observed one human in particular, a young man who moved with quiet confidence. He repaired damaged equipment in the middle of the battle, ignoring explosions nearby. When an alien approached, he used his environment to his advantage, trapping the enemy in a narrow canyon and disabling it with clever tools. Vron's mind recorded every detail. Humans were not just fighters. They were inventors and problem solvers in the heat of combat. As the battle raged, the humans faced their greatest challenge. The alien fleet's flagship had descended, massive and heavily armed. It moved with precision, targeting humans wherever they appeared. The humans knew they could not defeat it directly. Instead, they devised a plan that relied on speed, agility, and cooperation. The commander divided his forces into small strike teams. Each team would target a different weak point on the ship. One team created a diversion, drawing the flagship's weapons toward empty terrain. Another team, using small ships and cables, moved to disable the engines. A third team infiltrated the ship using stealth equipment, planting devices to disrupt the alien systems. Vron watched in awe. The humans were small, fragile, and vulnerable, yet they acted with coordination and precision that no machine or algorithm could anticipate. Every step was calculated, every risk considered, yet none of them hesitated. Courage was everywhere, flowing through the humans like a river that refused to stop. The strike teams succeeded. The flagship was disabled, its systems disrupted, and the alien fleet retreated in confusion. The humans had survived against impossible odds, using intelligence, bravery, and unity rather than superior technology. Vron descended to the battlefield to observe the humans up close. He saw the exhaustion in their eyes, but also the satisfaction of accomplishment. They had faced a fleet far beyond their size and strength and emerged victorious. They tended to the injured, repaired damaged equipment, and shared food and water. Even in triumph, they were humble, careful, and compassionate. The commander walked among his people, offering encouragement and guidance. His sharp eyes scanned the battlefield, noting potential dangers that others might have missed. Vron realized that leadership among humans was not about power or intimidation. It was about trust, communication, and understanding. The commander inspired his people, and in return, they gave him their loyalty and courage. Vron returned to his ship that night, recording his observations. He wrote, "Humans face overwhelming odds and survive. Their strength is not in technology or size, but in creativity, teamwork, and courage. They protect each other, adapt instantly, and inspire one another. Observation: humans are unpredictable, capable of strategy, and can influence events far beyond their apparent strength. Recommendation: humans must be observed closely. Their potential cannot be ignored." His commanding officer read the report and dismissed it. Exaggeration. Humans are fragile. They cannot pose a real threat. Vron shook his head. He had seen too much. The humans' ingenuity, courage, and unity could challenge forces far greater than themselves. His kind measured power by weapons and numbers, but humans measured it by heart, mind, and spirit. That was something his species could not easily comprehend. As night fell, Vron returned to a hidden vantage point near the humans' camp. He watched them under the stars, tending fires and sharing quiet conversation. Their laughter, soft and calm, contrasted sharply with the chaos of the battle. Even in exhaustion, they maintained focus and care for each other. He noticed how they planned for the future, repairing equipment, setting traps for potential threats, and discussing strategies for tomorrow. Their minds never stopped. They learned constantly, adapted constantly, and relied on each other constantly. Vron realized that this was not just a battle, it was a lesson. Humans survived not because of raw power, but because of intelligence, creativity, courage, and unity. Every individual mattered, but together they were unstoppable in ways his species could not predict. He thought back to the first battle he had observed. Humans had been outnumbered and outgunned then, too. Yet they survived. They had learned from their experiences, grown stronger, and applied that knowledge again and again. Each victory, small or large, built upon the last. Humans did not rely on luck. They relied on skill, determination, and teamwork. Vron understood something profound. Humans were more than a species. They were a force of adaptation, courage, and ingenuity. Any who underestimated them would do so at their own peril. As he closed his eyes that night, Vron reflected on what he had witnessed. The humans had faced impossible odds, survived, and inspired awe. They had shown him a new way of thinking about strength, courage, and leadership. Tomorrow he would observe again. And tomorrow, he suspected, humans would surprise him once more. One thing was certain. The story of humanity was only beginning, and it would be a story of resilience, courage, and brilliance in the face of unimaginable challenges. The humans had survived impossible battles before, but today would test them as never before. The alien forces that had retreated previously had returned, stronger, larger, and more determined. Their fleet stretched across the sky like a dark cloud, each ship armed with devastating weapons. Even Vron's sensors recorded the scale with a sense of unease. Most species would have surrendered. Most would have fled. But not the humans. From a hidden ridge, Vron observed quietly. The humans moved with calm determination. Their commander, the tall human with sharp eyes, walked among his people, speaking softly but clearly. He did not panic. He did not shout. He inspired. That was something Vron had seen repeatedly. Leadership that relied on trust and respect, not fear. The humans quickly assessed their situation. They could not hope to destroy the fleet directly, nor could they defend every position. Instead, they devised a plan that relied on ingenuity, creativity, and cooperation. Small strike teams would disable key enemy systems, diversions would distract the fleet, and clever traps would neutralize the larger war machines. Every human had a role, and every role was crucial. Vron marveled at their strategy. His kind valued strength and numbers. Humans valued adaptability and intellect. They used their environment, their understanding of each other, and their creativity as weapons. Even when outnumbered 100 to 1, they were confident. Not reckless, not careless, confident. The battle began with a roar. Alien weapons fired across the sky, striking mountains and valleys with devastating force. Most species would have cowered, but the humans moved as a single entity. Small ships darted between larger enemy vessels, drawing fire and creating openings. Ground troops used the terrain to set traps and block enemy advances. Every action was deliberate, calculated, and perfectly timed. Vron's sensors tracked a team of humans climbing the hull of a massive alien ship. Using ropes, pulleys, and quick improvisation, they reached the ship's weak points. Explosive devices were planted with precision, and the ship shuddered as systems failed. The humans had no heavy weapons, no armor to protect them, yet they worked with confidence and skill. On the ground, other humans engaged massive alien walkers. The walkers were enormous, capable of crushing anything in their path. But the humans studied them carefully. They used ropes and natural obstacles to trip them. They caused boulders to fall onto critical joints, disabling their movement. When one walker was too strong to topple, a group of humans climbed its back and sabotaged its engine. Each action was daring, precise, and coordinated. Vron could not hide his astonishment. Every human movement combined bravery, intelligence, and teamwork. He realized that humans were unpredictable in ways his kind could not calculate. They adapted instantly, turning disadvantages into opportunities. Even when injured, humans continued to fight. One young man had a deep cut on his arm, but he did not stop. Another soldier assisted him, protecting him from nearby threats while he continued his work. Humans protected each other in ways Vron's species considered inefficient. But in truth, it was a strength. Their unity amplified their power, creating results far beyond what their size or numbers would suggest. The alien fleet had grown frustrated. They could not predict the humans' next moves. Each diversion, each clever tactic, forced them to waste energy and resources. Vron watched as a small human pilot led a group of enemy ships into a canyon, where natural traps disabled them. Another pilot used minimal technology to create a disruption in the enemy's communication network, causing chaos among their ranks. Vron realized something extraordinary. Humans fought not with brute force alone, but with strategy, intuition, and courage. Their strength came from their ability to think, to plan, and to inspire one another. Even in moments of danger, they remained calm, focused, and determined. The humans faced the flagship again, the massive vessel that had challenged them before. This time, the commander devised a new plan. Small strike teams would approach from multiple directions simultaneously. They would exploit weak points, distract the crew, and disrupt the engines. Each team moved with precision, trusting in the others to execute their part. Vron watched as the first team attached cables to the ship's engines, while another set explosive devices on the hull. One human led a daring maneuver, climbing the side of the ship under fire. When the devices detonated, the flagship shuddered and fell silent. The alien fleet retreated in confusion, leaving the humans victorious once again. The humans did not celebrate loudly. They checked their equipment, tended to the injured, and regrouped calmly. Even after facing overwhelming odds, they remained focused and compassionate. Vron recorded every detail, noting how their courage was matched by wisdom and unity. That night, Vron approached the humans' camp carefully, remaining unseen. He watched them gather quietly, tending fires, sharing food, and caring for each other. They laughed softly, exchanged stories, and made plans for the future. Even in victory, they did not act arrogantly. Their humility and compassion were as remarkable as their courage and skill. The commander stood apart for a moment, looking at the stars. Vron noticed the quiet confidence in his posture, the careful planning behind his every thought. Leadership among humans was not about dominance. It was about trust, respect, and understanding. They inspired others, and in return, were supported with loyalty and courage. Vron realized the truth. Humans were exceptional, not because of size, technology, or raw strength, but because of their mind, their heart, and their unity. They could survive and thrive against impossible odds. They could innovate, adapt, and inspire. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and fearless. He returned to his ship to complete his final report. He wrote with care, recording every observation. Humans are extraordinary. Their strength lies not in weapons, size, or numbers, but in intelligence, courage, adaptability, and unity. They face overwhelming odds with determination and skill. They protect one another and inspire one another. Humans are capable of feats beyond calculation. Observation: humans are not merely a species, they are a force. Recommendation: humans must not be underestimated. His commanding officer dismissed the report. Exaggeration, the officer said. They are fragile. They cannot pose a serious challenge. Vron shook his head, knowing better. The humans' brilliance, courage, and ingenuity could challenge forces far greater than themselves. They had survived fleets, walkers, and impossible scenarios, not through strength alone, but through creativity, strategy, and unity. Their courage inspired each other, amplified their effectiveness, and made them a force that could not be ignored. As the humans rested, Vron lingered in the shadows. He observed the quiet moments, the young ones sharing warmth, the laughter of those who had survived, the careful tending of injuries. Even in rest, they remained vigilant and caring. Their minds never stopped working, their hearts never stopped caring, and their courage never stopped burning. Vron felt something he had never felt before: respect, admiration, a quiet awe for a species that defied expectations at every turn. These humans were more than survivors. They were innovators, warriors, and leaders. Their impact could ripple across worlds, across systems, across galaxies. He returned to his quarters, thinking of the battles he had witnessed. Each challenge the humans faced had revealed something remarkable: their creativity, courage, intelligence, and unity. They had turned weakness into strength, chaos into strategy, and danger into opportunity. Vron knew his mission was complete. He had observed, he had recorded, but he also knew something else. He had learned. Humans had changed his understanding of strength, courage, and leadership. They had shown him that true power comes not from weapons or numbers, but from the mind, the heart, and the bonds between individuals. He thought back to the first day he had observed them, small and fragile, yet bold and determined. Since then, he had witnessed victories against impossible odds, ingenious tactics, and unwavering courage. Humans were not ordinary. They were extraordinary. Vron realized he could not return to his commanding officer and simply report humans as primitive. The truth was far greater. Humans were a force that deserved respect, study, and perhaps even alliance. They were unpredictable, capable, and remarkable in ways that could not be measured by traditional metrics. As the stars shone over the humans' camp, Vron reflected on the journey he had witnessed. Humans had faced challenges that would have destroyed other species, yet they endured. They had adapted, learned, and inspired each other. They had turned every disadvantage into an opportunity, and Vron understood something else. This was only the beginning. Humans would continue to grow, to learn, to face new challenges, and to surprise the universe. Their story was not just a tale of survival or battle. It was a story of courage, ingenuity, and the unstoppable force of determination. In the quiet of the night, Vron made a final note in his report. Humans are extraordinary. Observe, respect, and learn. They are capable of shaping the course of events in ways that no other species can. To underestimate them is to invite failure. Humanity is a force unlike any I have encountered, and I, as an observer, am changed by what I have seen. He looked out over the camp one last time. The humans slept peacefully, unaware of the alien soldier watching them, recording their brilliance. Vron smiled faintly, a rare expression among his kind. He knew the universe would never see humans the same way again, at least not from his point of view. For Vron, the story of humans was complete, yet endless. Their courage, ingenuity, and unity would continue to inspire, challenge, and astonish, and he would carry the memory of their brilliance forever. The humans had survived impossible odds, faced overwhelming enemies, and proven their strength. But more importantly, they had proven their spirit. And in that, Vron realized, lay their true power. The power to inspire awe, not just fear, across the universe.